Okay, we are immersed in the sugya of asay docha lo sasay. Let's go over what we did so far. We discovered that when it comes to asay docha lo sasay, a regular lav, everyone learns out from the fact that Gedilim Tasalach is placed next to the Pasha of the Silba Shatnis. And we, therefore, just like you can wear a beged of Shatnis when you're Mekayim the mitzvah tzitzis, so too B'shashi Mekayim the mitzvah sasay, as long as it's a regular loy sasay, would push it off. That doesn't help us. Why? Because our sugya is interested in one thing and one thing alone. Why do you need the pasuk of Aleha by Aches Isha? It says, the pasuk says, Isha l'chaysel sikach litzor, legalas ervasa Aleha. And so I would say, asay dochalos asay, the asay of what? Of bim kaim yibum, pushes off the loy saseh of achas isha, if she falls to you. If your two brothers get married, the two sisters, and one brother dies without children, and his wife's sister's falling to him, I would say you do yibum. Because why? It's asay dochalos asay. The Gemara says that no. The Gemara says that aleha. It says aleha yevamot yavay aleha. So, and it says leisikach. So you see aleha, it's a mitzvah, and then the less it says leisikach. So you see that it doesn't push it. Now the question is, obviously, it must be that the asay is docha lo sasay sheyesh bakaris. It must be we have a source for an asay is docha lo sasay sheyesh bakaris, that we needed the pasuk of aleha to tell me it's not docha. Guys, that's the constant refrain over here. If you have a pasuk to tell me no, meaning without the pasuk, I would have said yes. The mechanism of yes would be the avsei of yibum is docha lo sasay of achos isha. So therefore, we're struggling. Where's the source of that? It can't be that Pesach Leicha Shabbos. It can't be Milas Leicha Shabbos. It can't be the Carbon Tamid Leicha Shabbos. We threw those out yesterday. We ended up, it's Kibbut Ava Ein. Why? If your father tells you to go ahead and be Mechal Shabbos, it says Ish Imay V'Ov Tiro V'Shasosei Tishmoru. What must be speaking about? That your father went ahead and told you to do on Shabbos something that would have been an Issachar, such as shechting the animal and cooking the animal. And nonetheless, it says you don't do it. Timer, the whole reason you don't do it is because it says, that in the same pasuk where it says you should fear your father, it says, keep my Shabbos, to tell me that you, so without that pasuk, you would say, you are Mechal Shabbos. So you have a raya for what? And I say, docha lo saseh sheish bakaris. The mitzvah of kibbut over aim being docha the lo saseh what of Shabbos. Says the Gemara, you have no raya. Maybe the Shabbos is not speaking about karis. Maybe it's when your father told you to take the animal and let it follow along, which is a lav. And that's where we're holding. So right now we don't have a source. We'll go through the Gemara. And again, never lose sight of the fact, guys, the main idea, our whole mission statement of this Gemara is to find a place that says, asay docha lo saseh by karis, that you need a leha to tell me not. That's the whole point. So we're going to begin on Vav Amid Aleph. We're at the top line. So we just said that the Kibbut of Aim is not speaking about a chiyuv of karis. It's speaking about a lav, the mechamed that the donkey is following after, which was a lav. Says the Gemara, and even so, it's not doicha. Even so, it's not doicha. So ella the kaimelon the asay v'docha lo sasay ligma mehacha the loy litchi. Guys, what's a source for asay docha lo sasay? Tzitzis. Over here, I have a source telling me an asay of kibbut of aim is not doicha a loy sasay. The loy sasay of mecham is a lav. So Fred the Gemara, you have two sources now. You have a source telling me yes, tzitzis. I have a source kibbut of aim telling me no. Why did you opt for the tzitzis and say wow unequivocally yes, and say no? And by kibbut of aim, we said no, it's not doicha. So apparently you have conflicting dinim, yet we opted to say unequivocally, no problem. Asay docha lo saseh by a lav grade or by a regular lav. I could just as easily say, no, it's not doicha. Look, if your father tells you to be, if you father tells you to go ahead and be over a lav on Shabbos, it's not over. So essay is not docha lo saseh, a regular lav on Shabbos, not a karis lav. So the Gemara says no. So you can't v'chitema shiny lavi the Shabbos the chamiri. Now 1 second. Esei dochalosa say by shatnez. That's a regular lav. Shabbos mechamer is also a lav. It's not just any lav. It's a lav of Shabbos. Says Rashi, what's unique about lav of Shabbos, guys? Says Rashi. The Kaimelon, second thin line. Mechal Shabbos, ka'ovid avodas kechavim. Someone who's Mechal Shabbos is like over avodas zara. U'mishem hachi afilu lav greda loy doichi. And therefore, kivud avein would not be doicha. U'minayu loy gamrinon. In other words, I have a way out of the question. Again, our mission statement is still there. Right now we're saying it has nothing to do with kares. We're simply saying what? It has to do with a regular lav. We digress to a side question. Why do you take for granted? I say dochalosa say from tzitzis. I could just as easily take for granted that it's not. Says the Gemara, no. I could say by tzitzis and a regular lav, it would be doicha. You know why it's not doicha by Shabbos? Shabbos is lav. Regardless of the punishment, still licked in the lav something more severe. If someone's Mechal Shabbos, even on a regular lav, if someone tells his son, go ahead, take an animal and be machmir and run after it, nonetheless, you'd be over a lav of a Shabbos-tic lav. A Shabbos is compared to avodah zara. So therefore, I would say, that's why it's not doicha. Mashenkin in a regular lav like by tzitzis, you would be. So right now, that's not a kasha. Okay? Says the Gemara, 1 second. For Tana Ba'al Makoi, the Tana, all other places, learns and uses this pasuk, not just for Shabbos. It uses this pasuk of Ish Imavav Tiror Eshesh Dishmor for other halachas. For loy kaparach, and we don't ask. The Tanya, Yachal Oimeloi Aviv Hitama. He's a kohen. His father says to him, "Go be metama." Oishamaloi Al Tachser. Do not return the aveda. It's aveda in the cemetery. Says, "Go in, get it, don't return it." Yachal Yishamaloi. I might think for these lavim. These are again regular lavim. I might think you listen to him. So until now, we've been using this pasuk to eliminate a din in Shabbos. Now I'm extending it and saying I'm not only eliminating a din in Shabbos, I'm eliminating other halachas, right? I'm eliminating other halachas. Good. I'm eliminating other halachas. Good. I'm eliminating returning, becoming tamei. I'm eliminating not the issue of not returning an object. So let's go through it there. So if this is the case, guys, right? So let's start over. I began kivud over ein is doicha Shabbos. Why was it doicha? It was doicha what? It was doicha cooking on Shabbos and shechting on Shabbos. And therefore you have a source for what? You have a source for Asay Dochalos say by Karis. And therefore I needed the Aleha by Yibam to say you don't say that. And everything would be good. Says the Gemara, you don't have it. It must be speaking about a regular lav. It's speaking about a regular lav, and therefore, for the Gemara, if it's speaking about a regular lav, so I have a question, Asay Dochalos say, it should not be. Just like by Shabbos it's not, here it's not. Says, what are you going to tell me? Shabbos is Mochamer? No, Shabbos isn't Mochamer. That's the right. Shabbos is not Mochamer because I used the pasuk of Ish Imavot Yisro to go ahead and exclude other things such as being tamei to a bit mace by a kohen or not returning an object. So obviously that this din of lav is not special. So now, if the din of lav is not special, so therefore you're going to have to say that I have a source for say dochalosa say. Now it's not dochalosa say, which makes no sense. So it must be essay dochalosa say, because you know what Shabbos is speaking about. Shabbos is speaking about not the lava of mechamer. Shabbos is speaking about taka cooking and shechting. So right now, at this point in time, I have a source for what? For asay dochalosa say by karis. And therefore, now taking it and getting to our mission statement, and therefore I need the Alecha by Yibum to tell me you don't say it. Because again, from Shabbos, the fact that Kivud of Aim is not Deicha Shabbos, which is a Chi of Karis, right? And I need a pasuk to tell me that. It means without the pasuk, I would have said it is Deicha. So you have a raya that I say Dochalos, I say by Shabbos, which is Karis, because I needed a pasuk to tell me not. And therefore I have I have a source now. You know what I need a pasuk for Aleha? Because if my Yevamot, who is an lav, an isakaris of Akas Isha, would fall in front of me, I would say you go ahead and Mekayim the mitzvah of Yibum, right? Kamash Malon the Pasuk Aleha, that no, you're not Mekayim Yibum. So right now, if we'd end the Sugya, everything would be great. Unfortunately, we're not ending the Sugya right now. But a little more difficult territory. But guys, you hear the Cheshbon, you hear where we're holding in Cheshbon. That's the most, as you go along the way, we have to stop by the train station and take account. Okay, so that's where we're holding on. So now, Ella, what? So now, Ella Mishum the Ikal Mifrich. In other words, right now you have Oleha. Here's the kasha why it's not good. Okay, good question, right? Here's the kasha why it's not good. Ella Mishum the Ikal Mifrich. Malahanach Kivir of Eim. Shekain Hechshe Mitzvah. Right? L'chayra Kivir of Eim is Hechshe Mitzvah. Very shver Rashi over here. Rashi says, by Kivir of Eim, you have no option. There's no other option to do it. It's Hechshe Mitzvah of Kivir of. Your father tells you to do something. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. There's no other way to avoid it. You can't circumvent it. Right? Masha'en came by Yibum. There is this way to circumvent it, but it's by giving chalitza. This is what Rashi says. Very shver Rashi, guys. Again, one more time. But Rashi's learning, here it's Hechshe Mitzvah. What's the Hechshe Mitzvah? There's no other way to avoid it. You're going to go ahead, you're going to be mechabed your father, and there's no other way to avoid it. You have to shech the animal, you have to cook the food. Mashen king by Yibum, you don't have to be miyabma, you can do chalitza. Okay, that's Rashi. Let's stick with that. Again, it is shverlich. So therefore, right now you don't have a source. Good? Now you don't have a source. So, Fred the Gemara, why do I need a leha? You can't learn from Kibbut of Ein. That's Hechshe Mitzvah. Let's learn from Binyan Beis Hamikdash. Let's learn out from Binyan Beis Hamikdash that what? That Esei Dochalos say by Karis, that you need the leha to tell me not. The Tanya, Yochel, I might think, hey, Binyan Beis Hamikdash Doicha Shabbos. I might think the building of the Beis Hamikdash is Doicha Shabbos. Tamalayim, it says, Eshabsoi Shai Tishmaru, Umikdashi Tirou. From my Shabbos you shall keep, you shall watch, and my Migdash you shall fear. Kulchem chayovim b'chvodi. All of you are mechuyev in my kavod. My love b'boina v'saiser. Must be speaking where you're doing an actual Isser Shabbos. You're building or demolishing on Shabbos for the purpose of building. The timer and the whole reason that you can't do this because of Rachmana eshasoy shetishmaru. Halav hachi. If you didn't write this pasuk. Dachi, right? It would be Daicha, the lav of Vad of the Chil Shabbos. So you have a raya, guys, that Vad, a mitzvah saseh of Binyan Beis Hamikdash would be Daicha, a loy saseh of Vad of Karis. So right now, therefore, we're holding at a good point, and I would need a leha. Right, guys, you're all holding, fellas. It's a hard Gemara, but you're holding me the cheshbon. What we're doing, it's going back and forth. But the cheshbon is. Again, again, the whole theme of the Gemara is the Aleha. That, in other words, I'm going to establish that there is a place where Asay Dochalos Asay. And if I do establish that place, then I know why I need Aleha. Because Aleha is an Asay that has, that's being Dochalos Asay Sheyesh B'Karis. So that's where I'm holding at that point in time. So right now we have a Raya. What's the Raya, guys? From Binyan Beis Hamikdash. Binyan Beis Hamikdash, you must be speaking that you are overriding it. You're telling the Binyan Beis Hamikdash is you're being boina b'saiser on Shabbos. We have a pasuk tell me you can't do that, and we don't say the mitzvahs asay of Binyan Beis Hamikdash is docha the los asay of boina b'sosa, which is the Chil Shabbos, which is the Karis. Without the pasuk, I would say it is daicha. Without the pasuk, I would say it does override. So you have a raya that an asay binyan beis hamikdash is docha los asay Shabbos. So hu adin yibum is daicha achasisha that I need a leha to tell me not. So right now that's what we'll be holding. Good. Says the Gemara, loy. It's not speaking about the lav of binyan b'soiser. It's speaking about lav de mechamer, the same above. And now we have the same dialogue that we have above. It's speaking with what? A regular lav. You say that by tzitzis is daicha. Let's learn from here by the fact that it's not daicha. The leidacha. The chitema shiny lavi the Shabbos, you're going to give the same teretz. That lavi Shabbos is not doicha because they're more chamer. Because it lavi mchal Shabbos, it's like you're with the zara, the chamiri, but tana ba'alma koi, atana goes ba'alma, and he uses this pasuk for things that are not just limited to Shabbos. Like a parach, the Tanya, yachal if he tama, your father tells you he's a kohen, tells you he's a tama. Ashiyam loy al tachzer yachal yishmor lo. I say you listen to him. Tama loy my ish imoy vav tiro kulchem chayov b'chodi. So therefore, what? So therefore, at this point in time, it's speaking. You have no raya that what it's daicha. You have no raya that you need a leha because it could be speaking about what? It could be speaking by. It could be speaking by the lav of. It could be speaking by the lav of a lav nesamochamer. Therefore, you'd say asay dochalos asay. And you wouldn't say asay dochalos asay. You wouldn't say asay regular Slav. Ellie, you won't say that. Okay. So now, in Sumat, guys, firice. So therefore, look. So obviously, what there's no difference, and obviously we know we say asay dochalos asay. So probably it's not speaking about machamer. So if it's not speaking about machamer, it must be speaking about binyan. If it's speaking about binyan, you have a good source for what asay dochalos asay by karis, and you would need a leha. So right now we're holding that we're good. Ella says the Gemara the Ikkel Mifrich Malahanach Binya Beis Hamikdash and Kivud of Aim Shekain Hech Shemitzah. Both we said Kivud of Aim is Hech Shemitzvah in the Lumdis was that you can't possibly not be Oived Aveira. You know, as you have to do it as opposed to Yibum, which you could go ahead right and do a mitzvah. Binyan Beis Hamikdash, obviously you have to be boina b'saiser, and so therefore it's what it's doicha. Masha'en came where by yibum, where you have another option to give chalitza, you have no raya that I say dochalos to say that you need a lecha. That's the kasha. So we had this kasha from Kibbutz Aveim. We just added one more to the mix. We added one more to the mix. Now by adding one more to the mix, we create a big problem, guys. Why do you need the second one to tell me the same thing as the first one? We had it yesterday. When something is equal, the Torah repeats it. Usually it's not to tell me something about it, because I know it already. It's to tell me about something else. So using that logic, let's firice. Says the Gemara, Malahanach shekein hechshem mitzvah. Hechshem mitzvah tepik leimi hasam. Hechshem mitzvah you can learn from Kibbutz Aveim. So the Gemara says, Ein achinami. If that's what Shabshashi Tzumah was coming to teach me, you'd be right. If it's only coming to teach me, you'd be right. And guys, if you want to fear Royce, you'd be right. And tell me if it's not to teach me about something that is you can't avoid the mitzvah. It'll be coming to teach me something you could avoid the mitzvah, like by yibum, giving chalitza, and you would have a din. But it doesn't come to teach me. Why do you need it? I might think a person should have fear from the base of Mikdash and bow down to it. It says Shmira regarding Shabbos, it says Tashashi Tishmaru, and it says Moira by Mikdash. Mikdash Tiro. Ma Shmira Amur b'Shabbos, just like Shmira b'Shabbos on middays. Loi b'Shabbos atam misyare. You don't. It's not the day of Shabbos itself that you're fearing. You're fearing the one who warned you to take Shabbos. It's fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Af Moira b'Mikdash. So too, when it says b'Mikdash, it says you should fear Loi b'Mikdash atam misyare, to bow down to the base of Mikdash. Elamisha hizru ala Mikdash, and only you fear the one who warned you about the base of Mikdash. Daisy Moira Mikdash. So exactly, if you don't bow down to the Mikdash, what exactly is the manifestation of being a fear of Mikdash? You don't walk, you have a stick, a walking stick, you get in the Harabayas, the base of Mikdash is going to stand, you don't carry a stick. That's fear. You wear barefoot, you don't wear your shoes. Your money belt, you don't wear your money belt. And you clean your feet, you wash your feet. These are all examples of Yira of the Mikdash. Depending which art scroll you're looking at. The art scroll in Chagiga said Pandaria. I saw another place Kapandria, right? So it depends where you look. Kiki mikal v'chaymer, or spitting the mikal v'chaymer. Guys, this is Yanni Diyama, guys. You know where spitting you learn it from? Look at Rashi. Rashi says very interesting. Mikal v'chaymer. How do you can't expectorate in the Makom HaMikdash? Mifarish ben brachas perek haraya. Ein lavoy el shar hamelech b'levur sak. It's the Esther. You're not able to walk into what? The levur sak into the Megdish. Why? Sheina mois. Now, sak sheina mois kal v'chaymer l'roik shu mois l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the sauce that you can't spit is Esther. Madach, to go in front of the king in sackcloth, which is not a davar mois, not allowed to do. To expectorate, which is a davar mois, certainly not do. So there is your connection to Purim in the week for Rabbi Avi's little blog. Okay. Anyway, says the Gemara Vaita. The only ela bisman shebeis hamikdash. This I would only time beis hamikdash is around. Bisman she'ein b'mikdash b'kayim minayin. How do you know that kedusha b'shoyin the kitchen l'shaita v'kitchen l'yatzlava it's still kaddish? Tamid loyma eshab soysei tishmaru mikdashay tirau mashmira umar b'shabbos la'olam. Just like Shabbos is something that's forever, it's just not limited to time. Af mora hamura b'mikdash. So to the moira, the fear of the beis hamikdash la'olam even when it's not around. Okay, so now you don't have a source. Right now, we don't have a source for what? Since we've upshlugged, we don't have a source for what? For Esei Dochalos to say by Karis. And therefore, why would I need the Pasuk of Aleha to go ahead and say you can't marry your sister b'makam yibum? Why would you think you could? So Ella over here, guys, outside, this is going to be a classic Gemara. This is classic Gemara. We know you're not allowed to kill on Shabbos. Shkita is also on Shabbos. Natilas neshama is also on Shabbos. Shechting on Shabbos, natilas neshama you can't take. So you're not allowed to kill on Shabbos. There's a mitzvah of a person is found guilty in Arba Mises Bezdin. There's a mitzvah to kill the individual. How do you know that you can't kill the individual on Shabbos? Why don't we say the assay of killing the individual is doichad loisasei Shabbos? If we can prove that, then we have a source for what? An assay dochad loisasei sheyesh b'karis. In other words, when I'm going to need a pasuk to exclude that you don't do that, it must be without the pasuk. You would kill the individual. So if you kill the individual, it's not say to kill him to be kaim mises bezdin. It's toichet alosa say avad of Shabbos. So you have a source, and therefore I need the Allah to tell me that achasisha b'makam yibum you don't do. That's the next shlav. That's the next thing we're trying to do. Good. Now be aware. It says in the Torah. Kol malachas loisasu by Shabbos. Pashas Vayakel. Kol malachas loisasu. And then it says loisivaru eish b'chol mosh v'seichem. Frag the Welt. Once you just told me kol malacha loisasu, all malacha you can't do. Why is it necessary to tell me loisivaru eish b'chol mosh v'seichem? Beer lighting a fire is a malacha. So we have a machloikis Reb Nassan and Reb Yossi. Machloikis throughout Shas. According to one opinion. It's to tell me it's a lav, meaning I know the 39 of malachos, they're all carry with the karis and mises best and skila. However, there's one that's not. That's lighting a fire. Don't light a fire. Don't light a fire. You know why it's taken out of the rule of kol malacha? Because it's different than the rule. Because the rule is all carries with mises best and this doesn't. That's one opinion. The other opinion is lechalik. It constantly machalik. You would have thought that, when you chayiv misa, only if you're over on all 39, right? What happens if you're over on one? So therefore it says, no, loisivaru eish is taken out of the rule. Just like it's one and you're over on it, you're chayiv misa. So to all the other 38, you're over chayiv misa. So there's a question, clearly loisivaru is taken out. The question is why? Is it taken out to create a lav, meaning as a different punishment? Or no, it's going ahead and reflecting on the rest. Just like the rest, just like Savaru, you'll be over singularly. So to all 39, you'll be over singularly. You don't have to do it all together. Okay, with that in mind, those two anachas, again, that we're trying to figure out Mises Bezdin is Asay Dochalos Asay and the Din of Savaru. Let's begin. Says the Gemara. Ella Salkadai Dechamin, and I would have thought that what? That Asay Dochalos Asay Sheyesh Bakaris, Mihavara, from lighting a fire. From burning something. The Tana, the Be'er Shmuel, they learned in the Yeshiva Rabbi Shmuel. Do not light a fire in any place that you live, in any place that you inhabit. What do you have to say that? What are you talking about? If it's Rabbi Yossi, it's come to tell me that you're only chayiv malchus and you're not chayiv misa. Reb Nasin, all it's Reb Nasin, it's lachalik. It's to divide up and tell you be chayiv misa individually. You don't have to be over all 39, even if you're over one. So therefore, the Tanya, havara lolav yatsa de Reb Yossi. Havara comes out of the rule of kol malochel asasu. It comes out of that rule to tell me you get malchus. Reb Nasin, I'm a lachalik. To go ahead and divide up and say you don't have to be over all 39, even if you're over one, you're chayiv. No, you're shelsing on the wrong part of the pasuk. The pasuk says like sevaru eish b'chol moish v'seichem. Don't go ahead and shelsich on sevaru eish. Shelsich on the word moish v'seichem. Go on the word moish v'seichem. That's your problem. What's the problem? Moish v'seichem mat hamalayma michti. Shabbos chayvus hagufi. Shabbos is chiyuv on the person. It's noyeg what wherever you are. What is that right? Moshe Sechem usually means, let's say it's something that's totally ba'aretz, a mitzvah totally ba'aretz, a dafka in that area. But Shabbos is a din in the body of a person. Wherever the body of the person is, you're chayiv in Shabbos. So you're on a desert island, you're chayiv. In Antarctica, wherever crazy place you might want to go, you can be chayiv. So l'chayra, what does that to do with Moshe Sechem? Says Gemara Mishum Rebbe Yishmael Amar Talmud Echad. Here's what you need it for. Lefisha Nemar v'chiyah be'ish chet mishpat maves. If a person is mechuyev misa b'dei adam, he's mechuyev misa's bezdin. V'humas. It says what? V'humas mitzvah kill him. Humas is a mitzvah. Say to kill him. Shemei ani bein b'chol bein b'Shabbos. I would say you kill him when, even on Shabbos. Now to kill him on Shabbos, guys, you're going to be over in Aveira. Let's say he needs sreifa, you're going to have to heat up the lead to put down his throat. What do I say by Shabbos? Anyone's Mechalel Shabbos will die. That's B'shar Malachos. That's by all other Malachos. Chutz mi Mrs. Bezdin. Any other one, but Mrs. Bezdin, you got a waiver. You got for Humas. Mrs. Bezdin, you cannot go ahead and do on Shabbos. So that's the question. I have a lav, mechalel yumas. I have an asay v'humas. Is it what? Even on Shabbos? Or is it even not on Shabbos? Talmud Leimar, it says, do not light a fire b'chol mashrei sechem. Meaning, without saying I won't light a fire, what would I say? Light the fire and kill him. It's Shabbos. You're killing him on Shabbos. What's the mechanism? It must be the mitzvahs asay of a humas to go ahead and carry out Mrs. Bezdin is doicha the lois asay sheyesh b'karas of what or lois sevaru eish. So I'd say it's doicha. If I need a pasuk to tell me lois sevaru eish b'chol moish boy seichem. That's what it means. Lois sevaru eish b'chol moish boy seichem v'halu noimer v'hoyu eila lachem l'chukas mishpat l'doirei seichem b'chol moish boy seichem. This should be killing Bezdin should be for you a chayk mishpat l'seichem b'chol moish boy seichem. Ma moish v'samur lahem bebezdin. Af Moshe Samuru Khan bebezdin from Rachman Sevaru. My love Reb Nasin the Amal Lechalek Yatsa the time of the Kas Rachman Sevaru Halav Hachi Dachi. Okay, outside guys, you know it. I just told it to you. Shabbos, every one of the 39 malachas carries with it the death penalty. Every one of them, even Havara, even lighting a fire. Why? Because apparently we're going according to the opinion of Reb Dasin, who says Leisavaru is taken out to be mechalik. Not that it's your lav, not to say it's chayiv malchus, taken out to be mechalik to tell you that anytime you're over on one, you're over on all of them. And the reason why we do not carry out, the reason why we don't carry out Misa of a Humas is because Moshe Sechem. And Moshe Sechem is Makom Bezdin. So you know what Moshe Sechem is telling me? Even the Makom Bezdin, where there's a mitzvah of Humas, Loi Sevaru Eish, don't go ahead and light a fire. Without that pasuk, what would you say? Without the pasuk Loi Sevaru, what would you say? That b'makom mitzvah, killing it, carrying out Mrs. Bezdin, b'makom chorus on Shabbos, it would be daicha. For who adin by yibum, the mokai mitzvah yibum, it would be doiches achas isha, your wife's sister. That you needed a lecha to go ahead and tell me no. So right now, if we'd stop right here, and we're not, if we'd stop right here, we'd all go home happy campers, right? We would have gone ahead, we had our mission statement, and we would have accomplished the mission. There's one adjoinder over here that's problematic. You're saying this whole brisa is going according to Reb Nassan. What happens if I say it goes according to Reb Yossi? What did Reb Yossi say? Reb Yossi said Havara is not a chi of Karis. He said Havara is a chi of Malchus. This is all predicated upon Havara being an Issa of Karis. Then you have a limud. But if Havara is not an Issa of Karis, then you got a problem. Says the Gemara. Last line. Let's get wide, guys. My love, the first wide line. My love, Reb Nassan. This whole limud is for Reb Nassan, the Amar Lechalek, who says that the chiyuv of burning is karis, and you're doing it what to mechalek and say that you chayiv karis for every venue. The time of the kasher rachman sevaru, and the reason why you don't kill is because it says you shouldn't. Halav haki without the pasuk dachi, it would be daicha. So you'd have a raya that I say dochalos say sheyesh b'karis. Lie, no. Rabbi Yossi goes according to Rabbi Yossi. Going according to Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says it's a lav. The Gemara with the having nami Rabbi Yossi, and even it's according to Rabbi Yossi that says it's a lav. Eimadam Rabbi Yossi havara lelav yatsa. That's havara greidasa. It's lighting a fire. Havara de bezdin bishul psilahu. Vam Reb Sheshes mali bishul psila mali bishul samanim. Guys, lighting a fire, according to Rabbi Yossi, is a lav. Taking that fire and cooking something with it, everyone holds his karis. Again, lighting a fire, according to Rabbi Yossi, you're right, is a lav. If you would then take that fire and cook a cholent, you'd be chayiv misa for bishul. What are you doing with the fire in Bezdin? You're heating up, you're cooking lead. So Fred the Gemara, even if you go not according to Rabbi Nassim, who says it's all Mises best, it's all Karis. Even if you slice Svaro according to Rabbi Yossi, also should be a raya that I say dochalos say sheyesh bakaris. I needed Svaro to tell me that you can't what? You can't cook lead. Mashma without the pasuk. You could cook lead. By cooking lead is an istakaris. So l'chari you have a raya that what? I say dochalos I say sheyesh bakaris that I need the aleha by yibum to go ahead and do that. Okay. Okay, we'll stop over here and we'll get it tomorrow. Okay, I wanna do something with you. My favorite Meshech Chachma of all time is in this it's in this parsha. My favorite Meshech Chachma, here you go. Sugi Daleha. Okay, I assume you could see this. Okay. There's a let's lead in. Here's the lead in. We wanted to assume that from Kibbut of Aim, you'd prove that Esei Dochalosa say by the fact that your father tells you to shech the animal or cook an animal. The Gemara said that's hechsher mitzvah. We want to say binyan beis hamikdash by the fact that what you can build boiner and slicer on Shabbos. We said that's hechsher mitzvah. So therefore, those two reasons we couldn't use for by Yavam. By Yavam, you have another way out. By here, you don't have another way out. Now, if I would ask you, what is binyan beis hamikdash hechsher mitzvah for? What's hechsher mitzvah? It's a preparatory step. It prepares something for something. Question: what is Kibbut of Eimeh hechsher mitzvah for? So this is what the Meshech Chachma is discussing. Ubesugya da'aleha shakal v'tari igarmina minei da'asei dochalos asei dekaris mikan umibinyan beis hamikdash loy deloy dachi Shabbos kroy ksivi lezeh hame svara without the pasuk svara havamina delitchi. I would think that what it's doicha. The shiny Shiny Hanach, Kivud of Aim, and Binyan Beis Hamikdash are different. Shekain Hechshe Mitzvah, the preparatory steps of a mitzvah. V'hine, Binyan Beis Hamikdash have a Hechshe Mitzvah, Af Agav Dehu Guf Mitzvah, Mitaryag Mitzvah, even though itself is a mitzvah, to build a Beis Hamikdash is a mitzvah, right? However, live this Beis Hamikdash. Mikol Makom, Tachlis HaMitzvah Hu, Lehekim Mishkan, She'akrivu Bar Kabanis, V'haya Hashem Yera Shama. Guys, if I would say, what is the Binyan Beis Hamikdash? Even though there's a mitzvah to build a Beis Hamikdash, you'd all understand clearly that Kivud of Aim is, that Binyan Beis Hamikdash is a preparation for something better, something important. It's a goal. Why am I building it? Even though I'm building it, the building is not for its purpose for the act of building. The building is to have a building, to have a place for kabbanos, a place where you can go ahead and serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Hashem gives us a mitzvah to build the Beis Hamikdash, but clearly we understand that the act of building is for the next step, a higher calling. So we understand that Binyan Beis Hamikdash is Hechshe Mitzvah. That we do understand. In Cain, Tachlisa Eina Ke'es Beis HaBinyan. The Tachlis is not when you build it. Rak Achrei Shu Yebanoy, only after it's built. V'zen Nikra Hechsha. And that's called Hechsha. That's what the Torah calls Hechsha. I have to get this bigger. So now it says on the next page, I guess it is, you and Rishim Shalai Perish came, ki hod the kari lekivud of hechshe mitzvah hu ian muskel ma'oy. Because what is kivud of aim hechshe mitzvah for? Binyan Beis Hamikdash, you understand? It's hechshe mitzvah, right? What's kivud of aim hechshe mitzvah for, guys? What's kivud of aim hechshe mitzvah for? So listen, what Rabbi Simcha says, something that for the ages is just. First of all, it's the best. You have this is the best drasha you'll ever give. This is your Lenny, the boilerplate of drashas. Would that be the right term? This is a boilerplate of drashas. In other words, this should go to any darshan. I use this all the time, so I'm giving it over to my talmidim. What is hechshe mitzvah? It's something that's very logical. Shamana, why should a mitzvah that is between people be doicha devei Torah? In other words, I understand Binyan Beis Hamikdash, that is with Shabbos. That has to do, and it's to do with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kivud of aim is bein adam l'chaveiroi. So why would bein adam l'chaveiroi be doicha Shabbos, which is not? Ubezeh hageda amru mamitzia isur mikamim memoina leidachinon. An issa for money, is not doicha. Rak mishum shebekivud of aim yesh mashin ageya l'makom. The kivud of aim, it's not limited to the person and his parent, but there's a whole inyan that's for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'zeh hergish dak, and this is a very, very small sensitivity. Shekol moistos hakabala mehasinai hu hakabala hanema v'nasa l'moshe misinai. A whole Messiah that we makal b'Sinai was given us to Moshe Rabbeinu. Umasru dor achador, and was given from generation to after generation. Lizare achreihem, to the children after them. And our sons told their sons, and their sons told their sons, and their sons told their sons, Yoim asher omdu b'chayrev, the day that we stood at Sinai, v'chein ad olam. Kivud of aim is the connection all the way back to Sinai. Ulechein dor yevaza aviv. If one dor would go ahead and be mevaza their father, v'yilag l'moisei hakabala, and question and laugh. There was a guy Moses by a mountain, brought down rocks, broke him, something balpeh. You believe that stuff? As pasuk Torah Yisrael, the whole Messiah from Sinai would be lost. Ulechein bezeh hageda yesh bekivit of gam devarim lagem al mitzvah Hashem b'klal Torah. In Kiva the mitzvah of Kiva which apparently you would think is only limited to what? No. There's Yisoidis, all of Messiah, all of Yadis, Yiddishkeit, everything. The continuity of the Jews. The question of Mark Twain, how are the Jews still around there after all these years? And the answer is because we never lost the Messiah. We've been around forever because we never lost Messiah. We, generation after generation, my father told me, and his father told him, and his father told him, and his father told him, and his father told him. I would think if your father tells you to be Mechal Shabbos, the Lidchi, you should listen to him. Kemash Malan the Loidachi. Kemash Malan not. The Imkain, Geda Kivra Makam Sheesh Mitzvah Zu B'Chavir Av, Havirak Begeda Hechsha Mitzvah. The Hechsha Mitzvah, what's the Hechsha Mitzvah, guys? It's Hechsha Mitzvah to call HaTorah Kula. All of the Torah. It's Hechsha Mitzvah for everything, because if one generation would go ahead and lost, you would be lost. It's unbelievable. It's the most powerful Meshech Chachma. I say it over the time. And by the Seder this year, fellas, I want you to do this. If you want something meaningful by the Seder, the Ramban says the reason we do all these mitzvahs, is that has to do with Yetzias Mitzrayim, is to connect back to Yetzias Mitzrayim, to connect back. So what I do by my Seder, we start from my mother, she holds my hand, and we hold hands, and we go all the way down to the youngest grandchild. And then I tell them to look back and say, what do you see? And they say, we see Bobby. I say, who do you see after Bobby? And that's the way I connect them. I step back. Right now, what are we doing? We're connecting back to this and this and this, and we're connecting back to Mitzrayim. And the idea of connecting back to Mitzrayim, the idea of connecting back to our Sinai is the same, all in the same. Today that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yom Amat L'Fnei Hashem B'Chayrev, and it gave us the Torah. Kibbut Avim is unbelievable. Thank you for listening.
Beautiful. Square.